Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and we just got what may be an interesting rumor for Zelda's 40th anniversary this year. We could be getting a little bit of a hint for one of the games that could be planned for this anniversary, and there's a variety of potential implications, which I want to dive into today. Now, before going forward, let me point out I have this goal to reach 60,000 subscribers, so if you watch my videos, if you find yourself enjoying them and you haven't subscribed already, you subscribing would be very much appreciated. So here's what we're talking about today. Friend of the channel Attack the Backlog posted this just a few short hours ago. This man knows things. I've only found out about this game a year later. So Nash Weedle, this is the person he's saying knows things, reported a year ago, or just said cryptically on Twitter, Richard Edward Bernard. And so what does this all mean? What are the big implications? Several. So firstly, let's talk about my friend Attack the Backlog. Attack the Backlog is actually shown to have some pretty good sources himself. Last year, he heard about multiple Nintendo Directs, and he would even schedule live streams when they would happen, like a week in advance, exactly when they would be happening, or right before, because he knew when they would be happening, we'd have a little bit of a pre-show. And he even teased The Adventures of Elliot, one of the big announcements from a partner showcase last year. Like, these are just some of the examples of the things that Attack the Backlog heard last year, and to my knowledge, whenever he's teased something from his sources, he's been 100% spot on so far. And so Attack the Backlog has a pretty good track record, I would argue, and here he is backing Nash Weedle, who he does podcasts with, and they have conversations, and we've talked about Nash Weedle a lot on this channel because Nash Weedle has reported on many leaks and has been continually getting more and more right. So yes, I think they are reliable. I don't assume everything's 100% correct, but they continue to get things correct, so I'm led to believe it's based off real, legitimate information. And so, what Nash Weedle said a year ago that now Attack the Backlog has just heard about from his own reliable sources is this Bernard project. So Richard is actually the codename for The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake, and Edward was the codename for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So to put Bernard here in this tweet, I think there's a suggestion that the next project following these line of games is in the works. Now, what does that suggest? The next 2D Zelda? The next Grezzo project? I think it suggests that. The next Grezzo-made 2D top-down Zelda game. But what might that be? Well, actually, recently Nash Weedle was saying this on Twitter this week, why Zelda Triforce Heroes and Zelda Four Sword Adventures might be on the way to Switch 2. Here are the reasons. As part of the Zelda anniversary, to boost game chat through multiplayer, new patents explore coordination between multiple players, trademark registrations, and unifying the two games into one with a Heroes pack. So here's what's interesting about this possibility here. We're assuming that this codename Bernard project that Nash Weedle reported on a year ago and what Attack the Backlog is now saying he's also just heard about is a Grezzo-made 2D Zelda game. Well, Triforce Heroes, the original release, was actually developed by Grezzo. And so, could it be that what Nash Weedle is alluding to here is that this is the next Grezzo project, a remake or remastering of Triforce Heroes, and perhaps also Four Swords Adventures? I am not so sure, but it's certainly an interesting possibility. But why am I not so sure? So if you look throughout this thread, people ask Nash different questions. So, for example, here, John Q here said, with the number of Zeldas they could be bringing back and they're going to come at us with this? What a shame. By the way, I do agree with this statement to an extent if it's the only thing. However, I would assume it's not the only thing because that would just make no sense. But anyways, Nash responds and says, it's an option, but if they arrive, I don't think it would be the only thing for the anniversary. Okay, so here Nash is not saying he's heard that it's for sure coming out this year, but he's just saying that it's an option and that there could be other options. But continuing, John Q also said this: do you think a remaster is on the way? Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and Nashville says, yo creo que sería el momento. And that just means basically, I think this would be the moment. Which I also agree with. Like, if we're going to get the been rumored for years from several different journalists and insiders that Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD are going to be coming, the only way it would make sense is if Nintendo intentionally held back on releasing them because they were planning them for a specific event, a moment. The 40th anniversary perhaps being that moment. We look at the Mario Galaxy 2 situation. We just got Mario Galaxy 2 alongside 1 for Mario's 40th anniversary just a couple months ago. Many people wondered what was going on with Galaxy 2 because it was oddly left out of 35th anniversary marketing and not in 3D All-Stars, obviously. People thought it was a real head-scratcher, but it now makes a lot of sense that Nintendo held back on releasing Galaxy 2 because they were saving it for the 40th anniversary because they have the Mario Galaxy movie. Galaxy 2 has Yoshi. We know Yoshi's going to be in the Mario Galaxy movie, and they also have Yoshi and the Mysterious Book coming out. It's all meant to be cross-promotion. They saved Galaxy 2 for this moment. Could it be that Nintendo might be doing something very similar, and the rumors from all these different insiders are legitimate, like from Jeff Grubb and Andy Robinson and such, that yes, there is supposed to be a Switch version of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, and they've been saved for a particular moment, and this moment would be the 40th anniversary. I agree that if there's any legitimacy to these rumors, Nintendo saving it for this anniversary is the last time it would really make sense for them to come out in the not-so-distant future, if they're even going to come. But continuing on the thread, there's a little bit more here. Sergi here asks, does that exclude the release of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and the Ocarina of Remake? And Nash says, no, plus I'm not confirmed, I'm just gathering clues that are around about it. So basically, for clarity, what this overall means, this is not one of Nash Weedle's leak expresses. Typically when he provides leaks, he says leak express, he talks about what he has heard. Here, he's simply sharing logical points to explain why he thinks Triforce Heroes plus Four Swords Adventures makes sense. But could this be him hinting at something based off what he heard regarding Project Bernard a year ago? Possibly. But I also think we should consider something else here. Maybe this isn't Project Bernard, and I don't know if a remaster compilation would have a codename like Bernard. Like, if it was just one project that they were fully remaking, sure, but if we're talking about like a Heroes pack here, I feel like that might be something different. On the flip side though, I do feel like getting a Triforce Heroes Four Swords Adventures remastering pack might make a lot more sense to come out this soon, because Grezzo just put out Echoes of Wisdom in 2024. They're definitely not ready for the next new 2D Zelda game, be it a full remake of something like maybe A Link Between Worlds, or A Link to the Past, or Minish Cap, or even a new one, obviously. That would take even more work. But let me point something out here. While Echoes of Wisdom did just come out not even 2 years ago, and I do think that if Grezzo was working on a full remake of a single-player Zelda game, or a new 2D Zelda game, it would probably take longer than 2 years. We don't know when they finished Echoes of Wisdom. We're assuming that they would start development after the release of Echoes of Wisdom. But we also know that Nintendo, in the latter half of the Switch era, sat on a lot of games. They sat on Metroid Prime Remastered, they sat on Fire Emblem Engage, we have reason to believe they were sitting on Mario Galaxy 2, they might have been sitting on even more. We've seen a lot of evidence for this. And we even have an interview from about half a year prior to the announcement of Echoes of Wisdom from Eiji Aonuma, the Zelda series producer, where he was hinting at a Zelda game coming out in the not-so-distant future that would have a playable Princess Zelda in the starring role. Now, that doesn't mean the game was done at that point when he put out that hint, but it's possible that it may have been done for a while, is what I'm really getting at here. And so if Echoes of Wisdom has been done for a while, maybe the next Zelda game that's been in the works by Grezzo has actually had more time in development than we realize. So maybe Grezzo could have something for this 40th anniversary, although maybe we'll have to wait a little bit longer. But going back to Attack the Backlog's post, if he's just heard about this Bernard project, it does have me wondering if maybe it'll be announced in the next Nintendo Direct, given Attack the Backlog's history about hearing about things in Nintendo Directs that are about to happen. It's not confirmation, he's not saying in this tweet here that what he's heard about is going to be in the next Nintendo Direct, but I am wondering about it if maybe it will be. But there's another interesting implication here. The fact that Attack the Backlog is corroborating Nashville's information on Zelda projects, it brings us over to another Zelda project we've heard about from Nashweedle that also, before these rumors even came out, we were theorizing about for a few years, that Nintendo has been working on an Ocarina of Time remake of sorts. As we've talked about before, Nashweedle has heard about this project and has suggested that it's actually a fairly ambitious project, but from what he has heard, doesn't expect it until 2027 at the earliest. Now, assuming these timing expectations are correct here, maybe we're not getting the Ocarina of Time remake this year, even though it would make so much sense for the 40th anniversary. And it also does feel like Nintendo is priming us for an announcement like this, because we did just get the official confirmation of the Ocarina of Time LEGO set. Maybe the Ocarina of Time remake is just announced this year to get us excited and invested early on, the core Zelda fanbase. Which to me, if you at least announce it, give us something to chew on, to look at, like a little bit of a teaser to analyze, because I'm sure it'll be beautiful to look at. That will definitely help a lot of us to wait until when it comes out, presumably in 2027. Fingers crossed that that's what happens. But also, if that's not what's going to be the big 40th anniversary release, what is the actual plan here? What is Nintendo going to do for the 40th anniversary? Some people are going to argue that Nintendo's just not going to have that much for the 40th anniversary, because Nintendo hasn't pushed Zelda in the same way as they've pushed Mario. But, I will say, we have the Zelda movie coming up, and Nintendo has seen how the cross-promotion of different games and such coming out before and after the movie and all that together leads to increased sales. It makes sense to do that for Zelda as well from that perspective. If you can combo in the 40th anniversary, that'll help things even more so. Also, it is the beginning of the Switch 2 era. There's more reason to push things now than other times throughout a generation. And since we are talking about rumors here, Nashweedle did say he heard about multiple things to come out about Zelda in this year of 2026. So what would Nintendo do? What are we going to get for this 40th anniversary here? I think Nintendo needs to do something that's strong. I don't think a Triforce Heroes remaster would really cut it. I think either A, you come out with something really big, or you have several little things and you tease something really big. So let's say we do get like a Triforce Heroes 4 Swords Adventures pack, and we also finally get Twilight Princess HD. Let's say they do both those things this year, and they tease this ambitious Ocarina of Time remake for next year, and then also, you know, you have things like news on the Zelda movie, announcing the Zelda expansion to Super Nintendo World, maybe another Zelda concert, we have the LEGO set that's already been announced. If you put that all together, I think that would be a worthwhile series of 40th anniversary announcements. Of course, if that is what we're getting, that would also mean we're not getting anything too major for Zelda's anniversary this year, just some small things and promise of more exciting things later down the road. But I know some people that would kill for Twilight Princess on Switch and Switch 2, so, you know, if we get that, that would be something, wouldn't it? And I never actually played a Triforce Heroes, so if we're also getting that, that would be pretty cool. Although I am hoping that this Project Bernard is something else, and maybe that something else is not that far off, or perhaps Nintendo has something else in mind, as Aonuma alluded to in his recent interview, where he talked about how he wanted the Zelda team, or Nintendo, to have something on Switch 2 before Koei Tecmo with Hyrule Warriors. But we'll see what that turns out to be, if anything at all. Probably something, because Aonuma consistently teases future Zelda projects. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.